You know what? Let's finish this around the NFL because we've got a lot of great NFL topics that I want to get to.
Take your time. Let's get into it.
All right. Speaking of running backs and great running backs who had great seasons in their contract year, how about Saquon Barkley? Saquon Barkley is likely to hit free agency. There is still a gap in negotiations between the Giants and Barkley. The Giants don't want to pay him over $12.5 million, and they don't want to franchise him. So I'll first start off. If you're a team in free agency that needs a running back, if Saquon Barkley were to get there, would you want him to sign him, even if you have to pay him $12.5 a year?
No, this is not 1995.
That's true.
This is not 2002. I am not looking for Curtis Martin in '99 with the New York Jets. Saquon had an amazing year, especially considering the injuries he's been coming off of for about the last 2 years or the last 18 months. Well, now 2+ years. Had an amazing season. Glad he had that season. He's great. He's a kid. I'm 40 now. I'm calling everybody kid. He's a great kid. But he's a great kid. He's a great player. Great. By the way, that picture, I've always wanted one of those pictures. Like when you got me like hurling over the defender like MJ. Like I had it, but it wasn't captured. Not at the price of $12.5 because you just got to look at what's happening to running backs in the last, you can go back 15 years, but especially in the last 8 years, running backs aren't lasting. Like you look at Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley was the best thing cooking in the NFL for the better part of 4.5 years. He got paid majorly, and it just fell apart. It fell apart before the Super Bowl, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Because remember who was
C.J. Anderson.
So it fell apart before
Anderson.
him for the Super Bowl. I mean, you look at Devontae Freeman. Devontae Freeman got paid the biggest running back contract at the time for the Atlanta Falcons. The year he got paid, just disappeared. And then you see him going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then you don't hear from him again. You're just look at Christian McCaffrey. Luckily, he responded this year. Yeah, much like Saquon Barkley, but now they've both been injured majorly. Those carries take a toll, especially when you're doing like gadget tricks, like CMC, and Saquon Barkley doing other things. So, 12.5, and then we missed the biggest one. You know, as the biggest cap hit this year at the running back position, Ezekiel Elliott getting $15 million, and he ain't been over 1,000 yards.
No, yeah.
And I use aim for effect in the words of Ryan Ermanni. So, as much as I love Saquon Barkley, and much as he can do for your franchise, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Not necessarily afraid to block. He's not the best blocker, but he's not afraid to block. And he can run. He'll get you first downs. I mean, you watch that horrible Commanders game that with the penalty. Yep. Just watch that whole last drive. I mean, whether they were cheating or not, he commanded that drive. It cost me my parlay, by the way, but. I just wouldn't, because the way the running back is going, there's going to be somebody else that's coming up. I mean, Jamal Williams had 1,000 yards and 17 touchdowns, and he was undrafted. So I think I'm not paying nobody 12.5.
Yeah, especially coming into this year. It's a very, very deep running back class, and it's unfortunately it's the position that it is. The running back position has been devalued, and Saquon Barkley has had an injury history. He had a torn ACL 1 year, missed basically the whole season, and his first 2,000-yard seasons, the Giants weren't any good. So you can't really elevate a bad team just as a running back. The first time they actually won anything with him having a good year was last year, and even then, they barely made the playoffs and did win a playoff game to their credit. But I agree with you. I would not pay Saquon Barkley that kind of money. What say you, JB?
Dude, 12.5. It's a little steep for me. I don't know if I can do that. I know there's going to be some team out there that will end up paying him that 12.5, but
I got a Fago and a 4-car contract for you, baby. That's what we're talking about.
Like that's all I got for you.
That's what I got to spend.
That's all I got for you. I know there's going to be some team out there that's going to end up paying him that 12.5 that he really wants, but honestly, I wouldn't do it. I think he might end up settling maybe like 10.
100%. He'll probably end up having to settle for. He'll get probably a little bit more because 10.1 is a franchise, so he's probably looking to settle somewhere in between 10.8 and like 11, 10, which is still too much for me. I look at it like this in terms of something you just said. It makes sense. The best running back in the NFL, if I'm being honest, is not Saquon Barkley. It's not Derrick Henry. It's not Christian McCaffrey. The best running back in the NFL is about 2.5 hours due south, and that's Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's the best running back in terms of constant production. Nick's in there. terms of constant production, Nick is in there, correct? What did Cleveland look like last year?
Yeah.
What Cleveland looked like the year before that? Like that's showing you that the best running back in the NFL, or the number 3 running back, if you want to call him that. Look at Dalvin Cook. Here's another one. Dalvin Cook's drafted 2017. I wanted him here, by the way. That was the beginning of the end with contrition, but they drafted with Gerard Davis instead. But I wanted him here. He has a great first 6 games. Gets hurt, comes back, has a great year 2, great year 3, good year 4. Year 5, and all of a sudden he's no longer the same. It's falling by the wayside. So when you're thinking about running backs, you gotta think of how fast it stops. 12-5, get out of
There's
here.
only so many hits you can take, unfortunately, and a job of a running back is to kind of get pounded every game. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of the position. And while we have
yo!
pause, right?